Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another JVS movie review. Today, I'm bringing you a review of a film that's made off one of my favorite books growing up. It was a book that when I was in high school, I was challenged by an amazing teacher to read this book to change my perception on some horrible ideas that I had of people. That's the best way to put it, and being PC about it. And after reading this book, it made me understand a little better that the misconceptions I had about people were completely stupid, completely wrong, and completely ignorant. And it allowed me to understand that love comes in so many different forms and that you can fully enjoy them no matter what. And you can enjoy amazingly, beautifully written stories. And that's what this was. And this one is B-Boy Blues. And this is directed by Jussie Smollett. And it's starring Thomas Mackie as Raheem, Timothy Richardson as Mitchell, and Landon Woodson as Gene. It also stars Brandy Evans. Now here's a quick synopsis of it. Mitchell Crawford, a young idealistic journalist, surrounds himself with friends and celebrities, yet still feels alone in a city. A roughneck named Raheem walks through the door and forever changes Mitchell's life. Now, this is, the movie's based off a book written by Jamesearlhardy. And again, this is, for me, quintessential reading if you grew up in the 90s, early 2000s. It introduced a lot of people to culture that they didn't know anything about. And I still want to believe this killed lots of people's stereotypes of love between two black men. And just that warped sense of what we thought it was before this book came out, and the way I think it's viewed now through movies like Moonlight, which is one of my favorite movies ever, and things of this nature that really push forward the idea that love is love no matter how or shape or wherever it comes to you at. But here in this movie, I know we're introduced to Mitchell as he's dealing with his on-again, off-again boyfriend, and through tragic circumstances that are absolutely hilarious that I won't go into too many details about, because you got to know about certain things to fully enjoy the details of it. But then we get Mitchell meeting Raheem one day in the office, and it's like chemistry immediately between these two. And then they meet up at a club, and then we introduce to his friend Gene, who then we go back in time a little bit to see that Gene is one of the first people that helped Mitchell become comfortable with himself and living in his life. From there on, we get a whirlwind romance between these two. All the tragic ups and downs you would expect in a love story. That is not the things I want to focus on here. What I want to focus on is this movie is amazingly directed, and it completely caught me off guard. For a first-time director, Jussie, I want to say he made very close to one of the best romantic films in the last couple of years. The way this film is shot, the care it really comes across that he has with the material, what he has with the actors, the way and the choices that him and I think James, because both of them wrote the screenplay together, the choices they made of not feeling the need to overly explain black homosexuality to people and say, no, we're just going to give you a love story between two people. We're going to introduce you to the people in these guys' worlds and lives. We don't need the homosexuality, but we don't need any of that in this film. What we're going to do is give you a straight love story, which I thought was brilliant, a brilliant decision to do here. But again, this movie looks amazing. And this is a low budget film. No parts of this film looks low budget. I couldn't tell you if this film cost $100,000 to make or $15 million to make. It looks great. Again, Jussie, the shot selection in this movie is amazing, including some of the more romantic love scenes in it. They're beautifully put together, where you can tell someone who has care for the actors, has care for the source material, and really wants you to understand what it means to be in love, to be in lust, to be in passion with someone from the way he shot this film. I absolutely loved every element of it. Now, from the acting perspective of it here, wow, I love all actors in this film. Everybody did a great job. But Landon Woodson as partially the straightforward friend slash comic relief element of this film is great on so many levels. He interjects just the right amount of humor when necessary in certain situation. It's a poignant scene in the third act where the seriousness comes across in him, and you absolutely love it. He's just the voice of reason for the audience. Everything you're thinking, his character says in the film, and I love any film, especially in the romantic comedy-esque type of film where we get that character that's speaking to the audience. Like, oh no, I understand what y'all thinking here. Don't worry about it. I'm thinking the same thing, and I'm going to say it. Those type of characters, I think, really go far with making you feel at home with romantic films. And he is great here again. But the love story between these two is magnificent. It's instant chemistry between these two on screen, and I think that's what comes across more than anything else, especially again with the way that Jussie shot the film, is that you feel these two are in absolute love with one another, and it comes across just with the passion that is shot, with the passion of each of their performances here. Like, I can't think of anything negative to say about the film. I can say I understand a lot of people may be uncomfortable watching this film. If you are uncomfortable watching the film, I mean, no one can judge anyone for being uncomfortable watching a movie, but all I'm going to say is, if you're that uncomfortable watching it, to me, you're going to miss a gem of a film that I think more people need to see. A film that more people need to talk about. Again, this is based off of one of the greatest books ever written. And I think he did an amazing job of putting the source material on screen. While for some people it is a tad bit graphic, and I understand that. To me, it wasn't at all. Again, you just feel the love being shot in the film at all times. I love the interactions with the families here. We are introduced at one point in time of Raheem's family and other elements, his brothers and things of this nature that we see in this film, and just the way no one is judged in the film. I think that was highly important for a film shot about two gay black men. The fear I had going into it is that we would get that part of, well, I hate gay people, I hate this, I hate that. I thought it was a chance to hype up the drama, that maybe they would attempt to go in that angle, but instead they fully embraced this world. Like, the families are extremely comfortable with Mitchell and Raheem. They know who they are. The families don't care. It comes across as so good, so funny. It's one scene at a family cookout, Mitchell's family cookout, and and the interaction between Raheem, Mitchell's mother, and Mitchell's father. It is one of the funniest scenes humanly possible. Because it helps break down walls of stereotypes that are attached to gay men, and it worked wonders for this movie. It worked wonders for this plot. It's in the end, it's just a really good movie. It reminded me, especially the intimacy that it was shot of a film, I think at this point maybe 2 years ago, called Sylvie's Love, that was released on Amazon. And when I watched that with Tessa Thompson in it, and her interaction, and with Nnamdi Asomugha, and I said, oh man, that's instant chemistry. Like, you feel the love between them two, and it works wonders on screen. I felt the exact same way watching B-Boy Blues. Like, every time they were around each other, it's just, you felt the passion that they had for each other. Even when things go down the path that is very typical for these type of movies, you still feel the passion amongst the two. Like, again, nothing surprising happens here, but to me, if you've seen one romantic film, you've seen them all. At this point, I don't think you judge romantic films for going down the typical plot lines. I think you judge it based off of, are the actors believable? It's a supporting cast, great, and there's so many more people in the supporting cast that I'm not bringing up that are amazing. When I say there's not a bad performance in this film, it's not a single bad performance in this film. Everyone comes across as being believable, and I think that's why it works. But again, I can't judge it for going down a path that is very similar to other romantic films, because to me, that at that point, that's the blueprint. What differs this from the blueprint is that this is involving two black men and their love story, and we do get an interjection of their culture into the film and to their love story, and it just works completely. Again, I am surprised that this film is not getting more attention, because to me it should get more attention. Granted, I can understand a lot of people are going to be uncomfortable with the subject matter, but at this point, we're in 2022. If you are uncomfortable with this subject matter, that has way more to do with you than anybody else. So, B-Boy Blues, it is currently streaming on BET Plus. Out of a possible 10, I'm going to give B-Boy Blues an 8.5 out of 10. This movie caught me completely off guard. Again, as much as I love the book, I did not think I would get a film that would even come close to matching what the book is. And while it's not as great as the book, and I don't think anything could be as great as the book, as most times when you make novels into films, this is as close as you're going to get. And from a first-time director, this is amazing. So I understand a lot of people will bring up any controversy surrounding Jussie and all that other stuff. At this point, I watched this movie and I didn't care about the controversy. I just wanted to see the movie and judge the art for it being the art. I didn't need to talk about anything else going on with him. For that reason alone, and for this film to be so great from him, I would love to see him do more work behind the camera, because there's clearly a talent there. And if it's in, and I know nobody wants to be pigeonholed, but if it's in this same environment, this same culture, and he becomes the voice of that culture as it pertains to films, that could be really great. Because I think that's one of the things lacking, is to have that prominent voice and from the gay black community that is willing to push forward to make films like this. And he did a great job at it. And I'm looking forward to see what he gives us after this film. But again, check it out. It is currently streaming on BET Plus. This has been another JVS movie review. Peace, people.